hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Christ Jesus our Lord, King, power and glory, now and forever. Amen. Okay. We are in arrive at chapter 18 of Exodus. Um, Chapter 18 is a rest from the story, from the movement. We're gonna meet in chapter 18 Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, and I'm trying to bring in the place where he actually lived. So I am, and this. Let me share this with you, and you can tell exactly where he was. So I'm just going to share this with you because we have been looking into the internet for things that in. So you see, this is Wikipedia. And it talks about what we know as Midian. Well, there's two. There's the Median with the ME, which is part of, like, was a partner small empire with the Persians, and it's part of Iran today. I'm not talking about this one. This is Midian, a more tribal uh, small kingdom in Saudi Arabia, and I'm going to show you the pictures. But here, see, this is the map. You can see this is the Red Sea. This is Midian, the Gulf of Aqaba. So this is Dedan and Midian. These are all children of Abraham. Petra, Jordan is here. Petra. These are all old cities. So I'm going to close this and go back. So Midian is a geographical place mentioned in the Bible, in the Quran. It's northwest Arabian Peninsula on the east shore of Gulf of Aqaba on the Red Sea, an area which he notes as never extensively settled until 7th or 8th century BC. According to the book of Genesis, the Midianites were the descendants of Midian, who was the son of Abraham from Keturah. That's the wife he married after Sarah died. They find these caves. This is northwestern Saudi Arabia, the caves of Midian. It's known. Trying to see if we can find it on the Google Earth. So some scholars have suggested the name Midian does not refer to a geographical place, but to a confederation of many tribes as collective for worship purpose. It's a cultic group, different tribes in the vicinity together. A religion, it's uncertain, though their apparent connection with the Moabites, they are thought to have worshipped the Baal of Beor, or the Queen of Heaven, the Ashtaroth. There is, by 1400 years before Christ, the Yahweh cult had reached Israel. They actually worshipped the true God as their God, and we see that in this. And I want you not to be surprised when you're going to hear that chapter. You're going to hear this chapter, and you find that Jethro already knows the God of Moses. How did that happen? So by 14th century, which is the time Moses came out of Egypt, that's the average time they consider it, that many people from Edom and Midian worshipped Yahweh. The Midianites transformed the Hathor mining temple into a desert tent shrine. In addition to the discovery, post holds large quantities of red and yellow decayed cloth with beads woven into it, along with numerous copper rings. Suspended curtains were found all along two walls of the shrine. The excavator suggested the Midianites were making offering to Hathor, especially since a large number of Midianites votive vessels were discovered in the shrine. However, they were worshipping and devoted their time and worship to a deity. They don't know which god. A small bronze snake with gilded head was also discovered in the naos of Temna mining shrine, along with a hoard of metal objects that included a small bronze figurine of a bearded male god. So they said that the Midianite tent shrine at Temna is one of the closest parallels to the biblical tabernacle. Okay, so all right, so where is it? Jabal Hubaysh in Saudi Arabia. It's at the bottom here, where we actually have the same place for mountain, the Jabal al-Lawz, same place, which makes more sense to understand. Let me just try to go into the internet and the Google Earth. It's not working for some reason. I'll try it from my phone. What's that?
It's not gonna work on a computer.
I'll try to do it from my phone. Let me go and see exactly, because it's connected to our study. If anyone has a question as we are looking, please ask it now.
It's interesting because God is the one to bring Moses and the Israelites across the Gulf of Aqaba back to where Moses was with his father-in-law and his wife.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's okay. I just got confused for a minute. I was like, who did Moses come back here because his father-in-law was here? And then no, God brought him here. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna start with that. Yes. Maybe Mina can bring us Exodus 3:12.
Here, 1 second. You share the screen, Evan. Can I take it?
Take it until I find the stuff. Take the screen.
Okay.
And bring us Exodus 3:12. When Moses saw God in the first encounter, when he go ahead, you can take the screen.
I did.
Okay.
It's here. It's only 3:12, right?
Yeah.
Is this one you know? Chapter 3?
Yeah, so he said, Exodus 3. So he said, okay.
So Moses always knew he was going to come back here after he freed the Israelites.
Yeah, what did he say? So he said, I will certainly be with you. And this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. The sign to Moses himself that he will believe. He said, you will bring this people, the people out of Egypt shall serve God on this mountain. So what mountain he's talking about? The same mountain that he had the burning bush on, right? The same mountain that he had the burning bush. Jabal Hubaysh. So you have that promise from God that he will bring the people, God will help him bring the people to that same mountain that he appeared to him. Okay, so the caves of Midian. I'm sure I saw it somewhere. Okay, so it's somewhere around the mountain. Somewhere around the mountain. Let's continue, and then we'll find out. So this is. Let me share this. I'm not able to bring you the pictures of the place exactly, but you have those pictures in Wikipedia. The area that's general area of the same place where the mountain is called Tabuk. Tabuk is the place here. So you go a little bit deeper into it. They put it here in this place exactly where the mountain is. This is Tabuk, the western area of Tabuk. Okay. And then the image that I can show you is this one. I'm not sure if there's any other images that we can see. No. These are the places where they excavated and they found the shrines that the Midianites had. It's a big group of people, not only one or two. That's why you would see that they will fight the Midianites. The Midianites will fight Israel later, but not the same Midianites that Moses' father-in-law was part of. Let me type it here and see if I can find Shawib caves in Al-Bada region of Tabuk.
So they're like the same ethnic group, but they have different like religions.
Tribes, yes, exactly. Tribes. That's what they're trying to say in Wikipedia. They're not homogeneous one group. So here we go. These are the caves that they're talking about. Look at that. Seems like a very sophisticated group of people who have dug themselves caves. Tabuk al-Bada. And here is somebody behind him. Behind this person is the mountain. That's the mountain. So it's very close. So one of the movies actually said, this is Midian. Here it is another one. Jabal Midian. So these mountains are known in Saudi Arabia as the caves of, or the mountains of Midian, with these caves there with shrines, and I'm sure they used to have living places there. So the point is I'm trying to make is very close to the mountain where the mountain of God is. So they have different names for it. Madian is another one. That's how they used to say it. The same one is here. It's another group of them. Same here and here. Midian, the plains. It's not a bad area for contemplation and quietness. Okay. We'll go back to that when we'll just let's read the chapter. Okay. So it's chapter 18, after the rock, the water from the rock, and they move from that valley of Rephidim, or they are about to move. They're not moving yet. They didn't move from that valley, from that little place between the mountains where the lake is. They're camping around the lake. So who's going to read?
Nancy, you want to read?
Okay. I'm going to mute so somebody can read, and then.
Go ahead, Anahit.
Okay. Nancy, are you there? Do you want to read?
I can, yes.
Okay, good. I think you're muted still.
Okay, I think that's better now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Exodus 18. Okay. And Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel his people, that the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, with her 2 sons, of whom the name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have had strangers in a foreign land. And the name of the others were Eliezer, for he said, the God of my father was my help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wilderness, where he had encamped at the mountain of God. Now he had said to Moses, I, your father-in-law, Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons with her. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down and kissed him. Sorry. I can't see that part. Kissed him, asked each other about their well-being, and they went into the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardships that had come upon them on the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. Then Jethro rejoiced for all the good which the Lord had done for Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hands of the Egyptians. And Jethro said, Blessed is the Lord who has delivered you out of the hands of the Egyptians and out of the hands of Pharaoh, and who had delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all the gods, for in the very thing in which they behaved proudly, he was above them. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and other sacrifices to offer to God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. And so it was on the next day that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood before Moses from morning until evening. So when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit, and all the people stand before you from morning till evening?" And Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of God, when they have a difficulty, they come to me, and I judge between one and another, and I make known the statutes of God and his law." So Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you do is not good. Both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out. For this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. Listen now to my voice. I will give you counsel, and God will be with you. Stand before God for the people so that you may bring the difficulties to God. And you shall teach them the statutes and the laws, and show them the way in which they must walk, and the work they must do. Moreover, you shall select from all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be the rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50, rulers of tens. And let them judge the people all at all times. Then it will be that every great matter they shall bring to you, but every small matter they themselves shall judge. So it will be easier for you, for they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all this people will also go to their place in peace. So Moses heeded the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of tens. So they judged the people at all times. The hard cases they brought to Moses, but they judged every small case themselves. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart and went his way to his own land.
Let me move to a quiet place because I think I have the TV so loud. So let me go a little bit. Let me have a question first. What are your thoughts about this encounter? Who is Jethro, and why does he offer God sacrifices? And also, what is the point of his advice?
Maybe they give the sacrifices as a thanksgiving for what God did. But also, it may have been like the time to give the sacrifice, like some sort of, like the way we go to liturgy and we like do a sacrifice every week.
But who is he? How does he know to give God? How does he know God? Seems like he's a Midianite. I thought that Moses was living there with Jethro, right? And he married his daughter. That's his father-in-law. So he's living with them, never spoke about God, never did anything. Seems like he lived there as a stranger. He was happy to be a shepherd working for him. Just if you put the whole thing together, it's just a little bit weird. We were not told anything about Jethro and what is his relationship to Yahweh. the God of Israel. All of a sudden, we have him appear, and he's actually is in full knowledge of God, and he's aware of what God had done with when Moses told him. He became so excited, and he brought out sacrifices. Don't you think this is a little bit fishy?
I don't know. He's a priest.
Yeah, he is. So, and it seems like it says, let's see what it says. We came in, yeah, what kind of priest is he? Any idea? Just thoughts.
He's like a high priest. Maybe the main priest.
Okay. Anybody else has a thought? How do you explain this? Because we didn't start even to make a covenant with Israel. There is no ordination of priests yet. This is way before anything was happening. So he is called the priest of Midian. The priest of Midian. Moses' father-in-law. And this is one of the puzzling pieces in the Old Testament. A strange person like Melchizedek, same way in Genesis, who comes. You're familiar with him because he, in the earlier chapters, when Moses ran away from Egypt, he was afraid of Pharaoh. He ran to him for refuge, and he settled there, working as a shepherd, marrying his firstborn daughter, Zipporah. He had two sons. We hear about their names now. Gershom, which means stranger or sojourner. And the second one name is Eliezer. Azer is a Hebrew word, an Arabic too, to help, to be delivered. Somebody comes to deliver you or help you. So he has two sons. So the grandfather brings his two grandchildren and his daughter to his son-in-law, and start hearing about the stuff that God did with him. So the next page in this Exodus 18, next page, Mina. He takes him into his tent, which he had used for worship at the time. So in verse 9, Jethro rejoiced for all the good which the Lord had done for Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians. And he even said, "Blessed be the Lord," he blessed God, "who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all the gods, for in the very thing in which they behaved proudly, he was above them." So he gives glory to God and gets excited about his work. And then not only that, but as a priest, he took a burnt offering and other sacrifices to offer to God. And he's bringing Aaron, who is now the future priest, the priest to be, or the high priest to be, came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. So the first piece here, it shows the first liturgy ever in the history of Israel. And it's performed not by Aaron, it's performed by Jethro, who is outside the Aaronic or the Levitical priesthood. Something to be thinking about. I wonder if any of you saw Moses by I think it's the TNT series, one of those movies, Moses. Anyone saw it? I think it's Ben Kingsley was the actor there. When he goes, if I'm not wrong, if he goes to live with Jethro, Zipporah in the movie tells him that God actually appears on that mountain. They know that Yahweh descends on that mountain, especially from time to time, and they see his glory. And that's what she told him. So the movie, I bet they are trying to explain this chapter that the Midianites, especially Zipporah's family, Jethro, are aware of the holiness of that place, which makes it very interesting to understand why would God choose that place out of all the places to make it a place of touchdown of visiting humans. That's a very interesting question to try to think about. There is a holy place in the land that God chose to appear, and they are aware of it. They see him. And Jethro had a relationship with him. He knew him from before even he came out of Egypt. So my question to you, how would you explain that Jethro, the priest of Midian, will know about Yahweh? Where he's getting that knowledge? Anyone?
He's literally seeing it on the mountain.
Right, but he had to be acknowledged about it before. So he wouldn't look at it as like a natural phenomena or something like Moses thought.
Someone must have told him to.
Who would that be one? That one.
I don't know. Would it be Moses? Because Moses came.
No, would not be Moses.
He wouldn't have come soon enough.
It would be
Would it be Abraham?
Abraham, because they are the children of Abraham. Because Abraham is the father of Midian. Midian, Jeshbak, and Shua. And these are the children of Abraham from Keturah. So I am dead certain that the source of their knowledge of Yahweh was Abraham, who had a friendship with God all along. And this is the case usually in Genesis and Exodus. It's usually the fathers and the grandfathers.
Is this why God came
So
here?
we know that the fathers and the grandfathers instilled the faith, and they transmitted their experiences to the children. Some of them took it seriously, and some of them abandoned it. So you can have that. For example, Jacob had two children, actually twin sons. One of them is Israel, who took it very seriously, and the other, Esau, really cared less about it. Esau country later on became idol worshippers. They cared less for Yahweh. They were not interested. God did not abandon them, but they abandoned God. Same thing with the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob had 12 children, and some of them were very keen on keeping God in their focus, like Joseph and Judah. But then some did not want to keep God in their focus. Some of them lost it completely. So what lessons should we learn from this? How do we think about that? What's the duty of the father? One day I was visiting a family, I'm going to tell you about this. And the kids were studying in the rooms. And the father and mother, and I, it was two priests, myself and Abuna, who was older than me. And we were sitting, and we were asking about them, if they come to church, if they do this. So the father was telling us about his experience with a miraculous work that Saint Mina the Miraculous had done for him when he was in Alexandria. And I said, do your children know about this? He said, I don't know. I don't remember telling them. I said, you're kidding me. You're giving us your experience of great miracle. So it was a big miracle God had done for him. For certain, it's a miracle. And I said, you never told it to your children. Bring them here. So he brought them, and there was a boy and a girl, both like in high school. And I said, did you ever hear about Saint Mina making a miracle for your father? He said, never. He never told us. I said, what a waste. I imagine Abraham setting down Isaac and Midian and Ishmael. And if the one grow up and leave the house, they should have already heard all the stories of Abraham. If they're still young, they will be sitting hearing it over and over and over and over again. So this is the story of Jethro, I think, that he heard it from his father, and his father heard it from Abraham. I'm sure that's what happened. I'm sure that's exactly what happened. Okay, so what is the next question is, how come he offers sacrifices? How come he offers sacrifices to God? I believe he offers sacrifices because he is a descendant of Abraham too. And from every family, the firstborn is a priest. Because he is a priest, the firstborn. Now, the next part is the council. Okay, let's go to the next page. The council. So remember, the first liturgy in Israel was not done by Aaron. It was done by Jethro in chapter 18. He started watching him, his father-in-law. Notice that Moses, when he met his father-in-law, he bowed down. Go back. This is common. In verse 7, he went to meet his father-in-law, Moses, bowed down and kissed him. He made a metania. He bowed down to the earth. This is custom. Has nothing to do with worship. It is out of respect to an elder who is a father. So Moses treats Jethro as his father. He doesn't treat him as a god to be worshipped. He treats him as his father. So this is what you do when you see, like when we get a bishop in the church. I make a metania all the way to the ground before the bishop, not worshiping the bishop, of course, not. Out of respect as a father, that I actually, it shows a submission that I would take and advices and commandments and commandments, of course, and statutes and laws from the bishop. I am bound through the church to do that. As long as it's not contradicting God's commandment, of course. So he's watched him. The next page. Jethro watched him the whole day, from morning till evening, judging between the people. They come to him in disputes. So he asked him, what are you doing? Why are you alone sitting by yourself? Imagine you have 2 million people, from 750,000 to 2 million people, and they got all their troubles and problems. So they have only one court, one magistrate. The same magistrate is the lawyer, is the judge, and the prosecutor. And he has to hear all these problems. So he said to him, I love that, because Moses' answer is very interesting. What do you make out of it when Moses said to his father-in-law, because the people come to me to inquire of God. He said, why are you sitting alone to do this from morning till evening? And the answer, because the people come to me to inquire of God. Okay, what do you make out of this answer? And he said it again, when they have difficulty, they come to me, and I judge between one and another, and I make known to them the statutes of God and his laws. And then, of course, Jethro would say, this thing that you do is not good. You think it's very good. Why he thinks it's good? What do you get out of this answer? Anyone? When somebody says to you, I do it because the people come to me. They have problems, they have questions, they have difficulties, they have disputes one with another. And I do it. I answer their questions. I give them what's right and what's wrong, and I try to judge between one and another and make sure that everybody is fair. Anybody?
I think like,
yeah, go ahead.
I think like he doesn't have any leadership skills to like delegate the problems of the people.
That's skills wise, but what is in his heart when you hear somebody speaking like that?
He loves them.
Yes, he cares a lot about them.
Mhm.
He cares about the people that when they need something, he's willing to stay from sunrise to sunset and even after sunset, dealing with them day after day after day after day, and he doesn't have any problem doing this forever. I believe so. So here Jethro is saying to him, what you're doing, it seems in your eye that is the best you can do, but it's not good. It's not good. And the reason is because both in these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out. Sometimes this is actually happens all the time with every good intention. People have that in their mind. They want to do it all. They want to take care of everything. And they can't imagine that they would, in their mind. So what's in the mind of Moses of giving this job to somebody else or sharing it with somebody else? How do you think? Give me an understanding of this. When someone is told, why don't you give it to someone else? Or share it with somebody else? What would they say?
I think it's good, Yabun.
You think this is good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So people can learn more, or maybe can get more care from two, not only from one.
So it's good to have more people, right?
Yeah, to help and to serve.
Yes, I agree. But I'm talking about what is Moses' reasoning, justification? If you ask him, I'm just trying to assume Moses' position. What would he say? Why are you not thinking about other people to help you? Why didn't come to your mind? Seems obvious. What answers he can give? What do you think? Trying to figure out why people have this micromanagement idea that they can do it all.
Does he like
Magdi, you were saying something?
Yeah, does he like not trust them, Yabuna?
It doesn't seem so, because he didn't say anything when Jethro gave it to him.
He's just giving.
I
He
think,
loves to give and
yeah.
give.
So what would happen if he does not do everything he can?
I think, yeah, Buna, because God, it chose Moses. That's why Moses thought they're gonna choose other person or other people.
Later on, God is gonna give His Spirit to the 70 elders, and it doesn't seem like this is Moses. Let's go in to look into this. This is good that we are actually talking about it. It's important, actually. It's very important. Let me give that. You know what I'm talking about? The Spirit of God descends on the 70. Remember that? And then Joshua was like very zealous for Moses. Let's go there and see that this is not, Moses is a little bit different than us, and we're going to show you in which way. Stay on the book, and I'm just going to give you the. It's Numbers 11, 25, 25. Numbers 11, 25, 25. So go to Numbers. The question again, what was the reason that Moses did not think he could have other 25, chapter 25, Numbers 25, verse 25. Why didn't Moses think of having other people to help him to carry on the judgment. Well, it seems like the judging role, but by the way, this is the work of the king. Later on, it will be the work of the king. Number 20, verse 25.
It's only 18.
Did I? Okay, let me see. No, I'm sorry. It's 11, 25. 11, 25. Sorry.
11. Chapter 11.
Chapter 11, right?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
25. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him and took of the spirit that was upon him and placed the same upon the 70 elders. And it happened, when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied, although they never did so again, just once. Okay, next page. But 2 men had remained in the camp. The name of one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. And the spirit rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but who had not gone out of the tabernacle, yet they prophesied in the camp. And the young man ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. So Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, one of the choice men, answered and said, Moses, my Lord, forbid them. Tell them to stop prophesying. Most probably they were speaking in tongues. Then Moses said to him, are you zealous for my sake? And then what did Moses say? Oh, that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them. His wish, his desperate wish at that point, that every single man in Israel and woman and child and baby will have the same spirit that was on him. This is Moses' heart. So he's not jealous. He's not competitive. This is not Moses' spirit at all. So he wishes, and see this awe. This awe is a painful awe. Like this is like my utmost desire, which God will fulfill in the New Testament, but not at the time. At the time was the 70 that he chose to be the leaders. So the 70 were prophesying, and Moses actually was happy that they had been prophesying. So Moses not thinking of having other judges was not because he was afraid of competition. So what was it?
Maybe obedience to God.
Maybe he misunderstood what the Lord wanted to do, but there's something else in this, and I think anybody, you would as a mother, you might understand this. Like everything in me is for the children. Everything I have is for them. It might feel guilty to give my responsibility to someone else. Does that make sense? Like I would feel guilty. It seems to me like I'm actually doesn't want to. I'm afraid that this will be the case, that it will be perceived, even myself looking at the mirror, that I'm giving my job that is so dear to me to someone else. It might seem like I'm complaining or I don't want to. Does that make sense?
But if he trusts like the Spirit of God working in everyone as much as the congregation they need, why he feels that?
It's not yet there.
It's the Spirit of God working.
Was not there yet. This has happened later. This is in Numbers. We're talking before even the descent of God on the mountain, on Mount Sinai. This is way before. We had not entered into the covenant with God yet for the Spirit to come on the 70. Then he would let it happen. Of course, he's happy here. This is Numbers. We're talking Numbers 11. Immediately after setting up the tabernacle. And the chapter Exodus 18 is before they even reach the mountain. But I think early on, as a young mother who has a baby, a young mother who has a baby, it is regularly and a custom is that the young mother who's the firstborn, you don't usually let go of the child. You don't want anybody to take it from her side. And it feels like I can't let go of it. That's my thought. I think this is what happens with people sometimes. They get so enthusiastic about leadership and service, and they want, it's my baby, it's my thing, it's my project, it's my thing. I don't want anybody else to touch it. I don't want anybody to share in it. But then in this case, it would have not been a good choice at all. That's what, let's go back to that, chapter 18. It would have not been good at all. It would have been a disaster for him and for the people. That's what Jethro is going to say. And delegation was not even studied or a subject at the time. So the first person to speak about delegation is Jethro, in the face of a huge number of people. So he says, both you and these people are with you, who are with you, will surely wear yourselves out, for this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. So this is not a case of pride where Moses says, I can do it all. I'm able to function this way, like Hosea in the book of Kings, who said, I can do everything. I'm the architect, the economist, the agricultural man, the engineer, the doctor, the priest. He wanted to be everything. This is not the case. I think Moses is not that way. He's not a micromanager or a dictator. Then Jethro spoke to him and he agreed. It's beautiful. And Moses showing here a very godly character, yielding. That's wisdom, to yield. We're going to talk about this verse soon. He's yielding. What does it mean to yield? What does this word mean? Yield. Anyone knows? To yield. Anybody knows the definition for yield?
It's like to obey and to defer to someone else and to obey.
Yeah, to defer to the opinion of someone else. That is the way to define yield. To let someone else opinion goes. And St. James in his letter, he says, the wisdom from above is yielding. When there's a wisdom from heaven, it gives the person the ability to yield, to let others' opinion go, not to be hard-headed, not to be opinionated, or thinking that his opinion is the only correct opinion. So he says, listen now to my voice. I will give you counsel, and God will be with you. Stand before God for the people so that you may bring the difficulties to God. I see this in leadership. I see it a lot, more than I want to. That the leaders think they have absolute understanding of everything. They know exactly what should be done. They want no counsel from nobody. It bothers me so much. There is a Proverbs, and I want to bring out those pieces so that you actually see it. And I want to make that as a statement for this Bible study. Let me first of all, I share with the screen from my. Let's go share screen, and I will go screen share. Let us go to. Here we go. No, I don't need this. Here. Let's go to the wisdom from above from James. Okay. And this is James 3:17. This is how it goes. But the wisdom that is from above, that means from heaven, is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield. That's the word. Willing to yield. So it's ready to give up what it thinks, what a person thinks, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. It doesn't seek itself. It seeks. So it speaks about the wisdom that the wisdom that is from the earth and the wisdom from above. Okay. The second thing that I want to talk about is from Proverbs. Proverbs says something like this. Proverbs says, very interestingly, that with the abundance of counsel, there's many verses. So this one, so it says, where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. Without counsels do a people fall, and deliverance is in the multitude of counsels. This is one of them. Without counsel, plans go awry, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. The plans will go in chaotic without a multitude of counsels, but without counsel, but with the counsel, they are established. Without counsels, the making void of purpose, there is no purpose, and in the multitude of counselors, it is established. Let me just give you the other one. So there's the proverb speaks about the counsel, taking advices, and not to be so proud not to take advice. About the city, there's something about the city. Here. So it says something like this. For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors. Without wise leadership, a nation falls. There's safety in having many advisors. So this is talking about a country cannot actually survive without a good counsel. Yeah,
Abuna, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is yielding the same as submission? Is this just an interchangeable word, or is there a difference?
Submission is consistent yielding. Does that make sense? Like
yes.
When we are children in our parents' houses, and we need to be submitting, because the commandments is submit or obedience to the parents means consistently I don't let myself lead myself. I ask their leadership, what should I do? And I only do what they tell me to do. If they ask me my opinion, I will speak. But if they don't ask my opinion, then that's it. So that's submission. Yielding is when we are equal, or somebody who has no authority. God give them no authority over me, and I ask their opinion, and I find that their opinion is actually a better one. Then I have two choices: either to stick with my opinion, which is not good, but because I can't let go of my opinion, I end up choosing my opinion, which is not good, or I give up my opinion and yield to the better opinion. And I should be honest and fair and godly and meek and humble and seeking the good, not seeking myself. And this will end up being choosing to yield. Correct? Let's say we're in a council in Sunday school or in the church, and I'm listening. I love when bishops and priests are doing this. They're very much respected. But a priest or a bishop in the church or a Sunday school leader, and I see that on all levels, it seems like a tradition. And they get so opinionated and they love what they're thinking, and that's it. They are not ready to listen to anybody. then their focus is on their own opinion. They're afraid. They're afraid to be thought of as not good enough or not wise, whatever. I don't know what they are afraid of. But eventually, if they are wise and stable and don't have any kind of insecurity, they will be okay to give in, to yield. That's the point. And this is what Moses had done. So if Moses is able to do this, and he is Moses, the arch prophet, he is the spokesman for God, you know, for goodness sake, this is a very great lesson. Imagine Moses is the one who is going to give the law. You know, do you imagine the impact of this chapter on the character of Moses? Just compare that chapter to the Ten Commandments and see what you think. It is Moses who's going to give Israel the laws they live by, the laws that will make difference between going to hell and going to heaven. But yet he sits and lets Jethro tell him what to do with the people. Do you understand the enormity of this situation? I hope you do. So go back to the chapter. So that doesn't belittle anybody to take counsel from anyone, as long as that counsel is it makes sense, has a very sensible plan. So what's he saying to him makes a lot of sense. He said, you, sir, yourself pick the people to make sure that they are actually trustworthy, fair, not biased. They wouldn't take a bribe. They wouldn't really take advantage of the poor or the weak. And you should teach those people the statutes and the laws. You make them judges by teaching them the laws and show them the way in which they must walk and work they must do. You give them their job descriptions in details. And you select the able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of tens. So you start by teaching, and after getting to know the people through teaching, you will get those leaders. And let them judge the people at all times. Then it will be that every great matter they shall bring to you, but every small matter they themselves judge. Very simple hierarchy. It's like a very simple, straightforward hierarchy. The tens will have leaders on top of them of hundreds, and the leaders of the hundreds will have leaders on top of them of thousands. And then you would take care of those big leaders and make sure that everything is running smoothly. But so you taught them how to think about bad and good and evil. Then they will actually run it the way you taught them. And if they have a difficulty, something new that they had not learned from you, they come to you. The smaller matters that can be done by someone else, let them do it. And if you have something big deal, they'll bring it to you. Either you deal with it and take it to God. And God so commands you, if that's the case, and God is agreeable with it. So he's not saying, take my advice and that's it. So Moses has to take it to God in prayer, and he would talk to God about it. Then you will be able to endure, and all these people also will go to their place in peace. He is going to the promised land in peace, because if imagine the country is divided over small problems, they will break. A house broken cannot stand. So Moses heeded the voice of his father-in-law. I love that, and he did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, made them leaders over the people. Thousands, hundreds, 50s, and tens. He didn't tell him 50s, but I think Moses added this piece. Actually, no, he told him, sorry, rulers of 50s. No, he did exactly what he told him. So rulers of 50s and rulers of 50s. Yes. So that's what he did. And so they judged the people at all times, and the hard cases they brought to Moses, but they judged every small case themselves. The last sentence. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way to his own land. This was chapter 18, where Moses actually established the judicial system of Israel which something that will continue to be with Israel until they get the kings, until 1 Samuel. Okay, so that's the lesson today. The first lesson is, first part of the lesson was that God actually lived or was seen on Mount Sinai before Moses actually. That's how it seems to be. And the Midianites had known God before Moses encountered him in Horeb. And then the second piece was that counsel that even Moses, who is the spokesman of God, and yet I wonder, why didn't God tell him about that? But I would say the answer is very simple. God's Spirit spoke through his father-in-law. God will talk to Moses in different ways. But the humility of this man, who was humble and patient, was able to hear God's voice in a different way than the direct encounter, which is interesting. And it sends you on a very big search for God in your life too. Who is God speaking on the tongue of? How is God speaking to me today? Where is he talking? How is he counseling me? And you might have somebody that you will never expect speaking to you about God, like that woman who was bathing in the Nile and talked to Saint Anthony, or the little boy with the donkey speaking to Saint Macarius in the desert about how to curb his appetite for food. Who is he speaking on the tongue of? Are you humble enough? Am I humble enough to listen to God in the ways God will speak to us and see him in any way he comes through? A burning bush, a burning mountain, and an old man who seems very far away from God. But you might never know. Let's say our Father. Anybody has a question or addition? Let's say our Father. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, make us worthy, O Lord, say thankfully, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from the evil one. In Christ Jesus our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, now and forever. Amen. May the love of God the Father and grace of his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, and fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you. Peace be with you. Good